Hello everybody, I'm so excited today. I have an amazing guest, Robin Sharma. He's going to be on live and he's going to teach some amazing strategies. And if you've never heard of him before, he has written a book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. He wrote a book called The Leader Who Had No Title. And also now the new one, which is the 5 a.m. Club. So I'm just going to wait for Robin to come on. So Robin, if you are here, just comment yes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring you in. You guys need to hang around for this because this guy has changed my life. He's actually one of the reasons why I'm here today doing what I do. So if you have just joined, by the way, if you join, say hi. And also make sure that you have some questions for Robin as well. So there's actually a questions button down here where all of you are going to get a chance to ask Robin a question. So if Robin is here, if you just comment on the comment box, and then I'm going to be able to bring you in. Let me see, where are you? We've got Marco Suto on here. Marco, by the way, has anyone actually read any of the books that I just mentioned right now? Because I'm telling you, these books, I mean, every single day I get up between 5 and 6 a.m. So maybe like a little bit more, but I tend to get up very early to really get a lot of stuff done. So I'm gonna bring Robin in right now. So let's go live. Sweet. All right. So he's waiting for him to come in. And oh, it's connected. Hey, Robin, how are you?
How are you, John? Great to see you.
I'm awesome, man. I'm awesome. Listen, if my fans on here, and for the people who are on here, for those of you who've never come across Robin before, he is a New York Times bestselling author. He's written some amazing books like The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, The Leader Who Had No Title, and the new one, which is the 5 a.m. Club, which is that just changed my life. I heard about that concept 10 years ago. When you mentioned it on one of your podcasts, until today, it's really what's allowed me to achieve what I achieved. So thank you so much for coming and taking the time to do this. So we're also going to have a lot of questions for Robin as well. So down here, you're going to see a comments box with a question mark. So this is going to be a chance for you to ask some questions as well to Robin. So how are you coping with the whole situation right now?
Well, I think, John, sometimes the world has to fall apart for it to be rebuilt even better. And, you know, Italy, for example, is very dear to my heart. I wrote a lot of the 5 a.m. Club in Italy. And many countries around the world, we're seeing our brothers and sisters afflicted with the COVID-19 virus and people dying. And, you know, that's always a very sad thing. So I feel that. On the other hand, I'm a radical optimist, and you know, if you study history, you know that we have to go through difficult things, and I think there are opportunities for us here. I think a lot of people are going through this, and it's refocusing their priorities. I think a lot of people are going through this, and they're realizing their vulnerabilities. I think, John, this is a time where we can look at the fear we might be feeling, or the sadness, or the loneliness, and rather than pointing the finger, we can look in the mirror and say, what healing must I do? And how can I use this adversity to strengthen creative human beings? So I think there are clearly sufferings on the planet, no question, but I think very much this is, you know, leaders are born not in times of ease. Leaders are born in days of discomfort. Now we all get to grow up as leaders and strengthen ourselves.
Wow, that's amazing. You talk a lot about leadership, and you also run the Titan Academy as well, which we get all the biggest entrepreneurs around the world really teaching from the heart. And I've seen some of the feedback you've had from that. So right now, as people are going through this crisis, through this fear, through a lot of this, again, discomfort, because a lot of people were comfortable, but now they're forced to be uncomfortable. So, and being a leader is not just having the title of the CEO or international speaker. It's everybody. We're a leader within us. So how can people lead from within during these times and really, instead of focusing on that negative and being frozen and not being able to do something, to now finally empowering themselves to really move forward?
It's a great question, John. I think, a shift in perspective is how you change your life. And I know that sounds very simple, but rather than seeing this from the position of a victim, which is why me, I can't go outside, I can't go to Starbucks in the morning, I can't hang out with my friends. we can actually say, maybe ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? How can I use this to strengthen me and my family? You know, a lot of people are scared right now, but if we didn't have pre-existing fear, then COVID-19 and the economic collapse could not activate our fear. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're feeling afraid now, or lonely, or unbullish on the future, that's an opportunity for us to look within and say, how can I strengthen my fearlessness? I mean, I think ideally, you know, like when I look at Nelson Mandela became Nelson Mandela in the fires of Robin Island for 18 years, not when times were easy. And so there's two sports to play. There is the sport that most people are, the sport of the majority, which is, you know, oh, it's a bad time, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, we all feel the sadness of what's happening to people who have it, and people losing their businesses, et cetera. Last 3 weeks in March, 10 million people became unemployed in the United States alone. Having said that, this is also a time for us to say, how can we use it to strengthen ourselves? How can we use it to have more impact? How can we, I mean, this is our moment for those of us who've been preparing for heroism and leadership. I'm reading a wonderful book called The Splendid and the Vile. I think you're in London, right?
Yes, yes.
So you might like this book, and knowing you, you've probably already read it, but it's called The Splendid and the Vile, and it's about how Churchill became Churchill in World War II.
Wow.
And one of Churchill's friends said, you know, if I had to spend a life with a man, I'd spend it with Neville Chamberlain, the previous prime minister. But she said, if I was shipwrecked in a storm, I'd want Churchill to be leading us out of it, meaning, you know, the nation or whatever. And all I'm saying is if we look for opportunities to serve, to grow, to heal, to become better human beings, this time, when we, in a post-COVID-19 world, we're going to emerge as much better human beings. And that's so much of what the 5 a.m. Club is all about. Like, you might say, well, how do we do this? I have a whole bunch of tactics I'd love to share, but one of the things is your morning routine makes the difference between going through a day of misery and fear and apathy, or being productive and serving and using this time to lift your life. I mean, in the 5 a.m. Club, there's the 20-20-20 formula that explains exactly what to do between 5 and 6 to battle-proof your mindset, to purify your heart set, to strengthen your health set, and to elevate your soul set, what I call the 4 interior empires in the book. But for now, I'll just simply say, the way you begin your day right now is going to dramatically affect the way your day unfolds. So start it with some exercise so you release BDNF, dopamine, which makes you feel better, serotonin, which makes you feel better, and reduces the cortisol, the fear hormone.
Wow. You know, I remember listening to a podcast some 10 years ago, and I'll never forget what you said. You said in the podcast, those who don't make time for exercise will eventually make time for illness. And I can tell you that has stuck with me for 10 years. And through in business, and, you know, I'm waking up early in the morning, every morning, and exercising and doing those routines. And you mentioned massages, and they're going for the massages. And, you know, I'll never forget that. I mean, I'm so grateful to have heard and got that knowledge, which is why I want all my listeners, and which is why I've asked everybody listening around even to listen and listen intently, because the things that you say and the experience that you've had and the people that you have interacted with, I mean, these are real pearls of wisdom, and actually now is a time that is what's needed. So one thing I want to say to you, you talk about this opportunity. In Chinese, we have a similar saying. In Chinese, there's a word called wei ji, and it's made up of 2 characters. And these 2 characters, one of the characters by themselves means danger, and the other character means opportunity. And so you mentioned there is lots of opportunities now. So when people do get unfrozen, and now they work on their heart set, their mindset, and they start getting up early, they start exercising, they get those dopamine hits, what do you see as the opportunities? Because you've had a chance to spend time with billionaires, multi world leaders. What do you see the opportunities are right now that's happening during this process?
It's a great question. I'd say let's talk about personal opportunities, and then let's talk about you're an entrepreneur, so I'll talk about entrepreneurial opportunities.
Sure.
So personal opportunities. A lot of us were too of the world. We defined our self-worth by our net worth. We measured our enoughness as human beings by how many Instagram likes we have. You've got a lot of likes, by the way. That's a lot of followers. We measured how valuable we were to the world by the size of our house and by our net worth and by fame, fortune, and applause. In the 5 a.m. Club, one of the things I share is those things are fine. We're human. But the moment we start deriving our power from what we are in the world is the moment when the world falls apart, we lose our power. And so the vast opportunity right now for everyone on the planet is to build an axis of power from within. Fall in love with yourself more. Derive your power by your authenticity, by your commitment to your family, by, even if you wash toilets like Picasso painted. There are no extra people on the planet. Don't derive your power by being in with the cool people and by social media likes. Derive your fundamental power by who you are as a human being and your ability to be brave and to love your family and to treat your community well. So I think there's a fundamental opportunity to refocus on how we derive our power. I think we're also looking at another opportunity personally is to refocus our priorities around our family. Like every night, my family and I have 2-hour dinners now. I was always very close, but it's like family time even more. I love Honey Crisp apples. I haven't had one for 2 weeks because we're in real lockdown. And on Saturday night at the family meal, I said, okay, guys, I want to go around the table. Your first day out of lockdown, what does it look like? And for me, it's, simple, like appreciating the simple graces of an apple. So I think we're starting to celebrate the simple pleasures that we could have neglected. I think also we have the opportunity for healing in the 5 a.m. Club. I think everyone talks about mindset. I come at it from a contrarian point of view, and in the 5 a.m. Club, and this has helped the readers so much, so I'll mention it. There's 4 interior empires. I think mindset is only 25% of personal mastery because that's your psychology. We also have what I call heart set, which is your emotionality, your health set, which is your physicality, and your soul set, which is your spirituality. And when you work on all 4, that's when you rise into a hero in your life in the outer world. And I think we have an opportunity to do a lot of heart set work now and work through those limiting emotions that we haven't processed through that are actually limiting our creativity, productivity, and performance. And I know we don't have enough time to get into it, but I just want to say, if all you do is work on your mindset through reading and meditation and prayer, you're neglecting your heart set, which is the greatest opportunity. To release shame, to release guilt, to release fear, to release sorrow that we repress through trauma, and to upgrade our intimacy with the more glorious emotions of gratitude, awe, and wonder. And then I'll just quickly get through some business opportunities because you have a lot of entrepreneurs who follow you. Well, I think a lot of businesses, from all the businesses I've worked with, they were too leveraged. So this is an opportunity to build what I call an ELO, an extremely lean organization. Number 2, anyone can lead when everything's easy. Show me how you lead with your team and your customers right now. So we get to be better leaders now. Number 3, we get to build more intimacy with our customers. Someone dropped some food off the other day, a pretty big company, and the CEO dropped it off to me. He said, Robin, I went through a hard time a few years ago. You stayed loyal to me. This is how I show loyalty.
Wow.
So we get to wow our customers right now. 3rd business opportunity. 4th, how many great businesses were launched in depressions? Fender music, I think Hewlett Packard, a lot of restaurants are collapsing, but some are doing takeout. They're starting to do videos on how to cook, et cetera, et cetera. So there are many opportunities, but you've got to maintain an entrepreneurial mindset versus a victim mindset. Otherwise, you could miss it.
Wow, I love the whole, I just love the way you come at things. It's always from here, from the soul, from the mind, and everything else is just kind of falls into place. You know, a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, I have a lot of entrepreneurs that you say, follow me, and there are I find two different types. There's one type that's like gung-ho. They're like, you know, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to exercise. I'll just get the job done. And of course, the whole illness comes into it. And then there's the whole, what we call a heart-centered entrepreneur. And so in your opinion, and again, for a lot of people watching, it's like, oh, John, should I only sleep? Like they feel really proud to sleep maybe 2 or 3 hours a day, or sometimes even not sleep. What's your opinion on sleep? I know you've said in the past there's plenty of sleep, plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. I've heard, yeah, that was one of the podcasts. But I'd love to get your opinion on it.
You know, I think you can be healthy or you can be sleep deprived. You can't be both. And so, you know, you're right. There's a lot of hustle and grind pundits out there. Yeah. And I respect them. I mean, you know, we all get to evangelize our own philosophy. I mean, you've read the 5 a.m. Club. There's a whole chapter on the essentialness of sleep. And you talk about being a heart-centered entrepreneur. Let's talk about being a data or science-centered entrepreneur. The science says that the best performers operate in a pulse versus like a marathon. And in the 5 a.m. Club, there's actually a model called the twin cycles of elite performance. And it actually says the best entrepreneurs, and explains how to maximize productivity, which is when you work, go all in. Block out distraction. Don't be checking the news. Hydrate. Work in what I call a tight bubble of total focus. So you are monomaniacally focused on genius grade work. And after those 3 or 4 or 5 hours a day, go sunbathe, get a massage. Well, you know, or get your partner to massage you or whatever. But the point is, great performance is a pulse between intense activity and deep recovery. So I nap, Churchill napped, JFK napped, a lot of the billionaires I mentor, they nap. Napping is awesome. You know, John Lennon said, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. And so for all these people, like, you've got to be sleep deprived, hustle and grind. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I think that was Ben Franklin. The science says the number one way to cut your life short is being sleep deprived. So the 5 a.m. Club method is not about sleep deprivation. Science actually says get between 7 to 9 hours. Right now, I would say get even more.
Wow.
I would actually, and I'm not giving medical advice, but I'd say vitamin C, build immunity, vitamin D, build immunity, sunlight, sunbathe if you can, get more sleep, hydrate even more. Meditate, because that will reduce inflammation, increase immunity. Massage, get your partner to massage you or whatever. All the things that I teach in the 5M Club that I've been teaching for years, this is when you actually get to see how beneficial they are to bulletproof your immune system as well as your mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set.
You know, I can tell you, the first time I tried to wake up at 5 a.m., it was so hard. After about 2 or 3 days, you know, you kind of get into that zombie mode. But then after about a week or two, now even when I go to bed later, I still wake up at 5 o'clock. It's really weird how your brain can just rewire and that habit changes, and then you're just so productive. You just get so much done. And for anyone watching this right now, I highly recommend you get all of Robin's books. You know, download all his podcasts. He's got a podcast on iTunes. So if you're part of iTunes, you're part of Spotify, download that. Make sure you go through them. I know you have a lot of training on YouTube as well, so make sure you follow Robin on YouTube. I'm telling you, the work will change your life. I'm going to take some questions now. So if any of you have any questions, then what I'd like you to do is in the comments box, next to that, there's a little question mark. If you click that, we'll be able to go through your questions and actually show your questions to Robin. So, oh, here's a good one. I'm unable to focus on my study. Please guide me. How do people stay? It's interesting because people are now spending time at home, but now they're finding it even harder to focus because there's so many distractions. So how do people stay focused?
Number one, use the news as a tool, not as a drug. Number two, start your day with exercise, which will release norepinephrine, which will allow greater focus in your mind. So will BDNF. Now, if you're at home, you can say, I can't get to the gym. Jumping jacks, skipping, running on the spot, push-ups, burpees. You can do it in any room, even if you're in one room. That'll release BDNF, which accelerates the brain and focus. So meditation, exercise. 3, journaling. Journaling will allow you to process through. Do it early in the morning because that's the morning routine. When you journal, you can release your fear. You can release the emotions of loneliness or what, and put them on a page, which allows you to feel much more free so you can focus. And I think those are 3 specific tactics that allow you to start your day better. Final thing I'd say is prayer. Prayer works very well for me. Even 3 or 4 minutes to lock you into your highest, largest self is powerful.
I love the journaling. I learned that from you many years ago as well. And because my background, I used to be an animator. So I used to work as a computer animator. Wow. So when we used to go into the office and open up the computer, we'd get animator block. Like we couldn't animate the characters. And the first thing we should do if that ever happens is you put pen to paper because something magical happens. When that pen hits the paper, it starts switching to that creative side and then ideas start to flow. So,
and you're speaking about something important, John, which is don't start your day checking the news or your email or social media or whatever. Give yourself what I call in the 5 a.m. club your victory hour. Give yourself an hour while the rest of the world is asleep, and it's never been so asleep as now, and experience what you and I know is the most tranquil, magical part of the day. And like even just looking at the sunrise or taking the time to think, which we didn't do in early March for a lot of the world. And that will set the tone for the day that you get, that becomes a through line for the rest of the day.
I've got a quick question for you. This has nothing to do with this whole thing, but just curious. What's one thing you appreciate now being in a lockdown that you've either never done before or you've always wanted to do it and now you have the time to do it?
Well, what I appreciate most is the opportunity to serve. You know, I mean, I feel I've prepared my whole life for this time, just like you have and everyone who's viewing our Instagram Live. I mean, we get to show who we really are, not only as leaders, we get to show our humanity when the world falls apart. We get to show if we care about an elderly neighbor by picking up some grocery for them in this time. We get to, you know, you asked me to do an Instagram Live so you could bring value for all the people who follow you. We get to show our true nature, and we get to live the noble values of bravery, compassion, empathy, service in hard times. And so what I'm most grateful for is through Instagram and, you know, Zoom or whatever, we can serve people who are in need and bring them hope and information and help them build better lives and better businesses, and we can make the world a brighter place. I'm very bullish on a brighter future. And we can make this world a more creative and a more productive and a more unified and a more loving place. I've actually done a document, no charge whatsoever. It's in my Instagram profile. And it's called the War Measures Manual that explains a lot of this, no charge whatsoever. But it also explains how you can come out of this and experience a much more bright world. And I think, you know, that's an opportunity for us.
That's amazing. I mean, you got to hear this, guys. Opportunity, that's the key. And right now, more than probably ever, now's the time. All right, let's have a look at any other questions we have here. We did have a question, because I actually made an Instagram live, story before, and someone actually asked a question on the book, The Monkey Sold His Ferrari. So I'll ask you that one in a second. But let me ask, do you like sleeping? Okay, there are a lot of questions that have come here. Oh, here's another one. Someone says, what is your next book? 'Cause I know you're working on something quite interesting. So are you allowed to talk about that?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
My next book is upstairs. It's in my writing room, and when I write, John, it's not easy. It's hard, messy. I struggle, but I get through it. So it's right now it's in a messy form, and it's all about personal heroism, and it's all about the 4 interior empires that I introduced in the 4am Club: mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set, but also then about productivity and living a more beautiful lifestyle. And a lot of it is going to be how to navigate adversity, because one thing I want to emphasize, if I may, is the people who were studied, who got through post-traumatic stress, the people who lost a loved one, experienced a bankruptcy, they were all people who asked themselves this fundamental question: what is the value that I can find in tragedy? In other words, how can I turn tragedy into creativity? I've gone through a lot of suffering in my life. And I wouldn't, the 5am Club would not have been the book that it is but for my tragedies and suffering. Suffering and hard times teach us empathy, intimacy with creativity, authenticity, bravery. I mean, it's, Khalil Gibran wrote a great book called The Prophet, and in it he said, if you don't feel your sorrow, you won't be able to feel your joy.
Wow.
Because he said, isn't the same cup that was burned in the potter's oven the same cup that carries your joy? So there's 2 sports to play now: victims, why is it so bad, etc., and heroes, which is, how can I serve more? How can I build myself to make myself stronger? How can I write my book during this lockdown? And how can I emerge from this as an instrument of service to the world, as well as my own ambitions?
Wow. I love the way, you see, isn't life the way we look at things? Like sometimes I see things, I mean, one of my companies is an events company. So obviously now you can't run events. And last year we ran 117 events. I was supposed to have an event actually last weekend with 1,000 people, but we had to postpone that. And I'm just thinking, like I said, what is the opportunity right now? And it's interesting because we started testing a lot of stuff online, like online trainings, and we found that there was a 50% higher show rate than if people would have come to the event in the first place. So I thought, And so sometimes we do things in a normal way, and then we do things differently, and we start to see different results, and we go, maybe I should have done that before. So sometimes what's happening now is this whole blessing in disguise, which I think is phenomenal. All right, let's take one more question. And we have a lot of questions here, Robin. I'm trying to, I read you where you were a lawyer, you should have studied law. Okay. Trying to pick a good one here for the last one. Why are you not studying?
I see Ben Corns from Vancouver, Canada. All right. We have so many people from around the world here.
Yeah. By the way, where you guys dialing in from? Just type it in where you guys dialing in from. We've got one here. This is a great one. This is from a good friend of mine, Elham Payfin. So Elham, hey, how you doing? Elham says, how to approach and associate with world-class leaders for upgrading your mindset. And I know you spend a lot of time with world-class leaders. So what have you learned from that, and how do you actually do that?
I have learned, John, that a single conversation with someone whose life you want to be living could give you the one idea that rewires the rest of your life. So you mentioned the Titan Summit. I had, co-founder of Apple, Steve Wozniak. I have Richard Branson, Shaquille O'Neal. It goes on and on. We're not doing it anymore. Last year was my last Titan Summit because, I don't want to keep on repeating a winning formula. I need to keep innovating. But what I would say is reading someone's book is communing with the author. If you read the right books, the hand that puts down the book is fundamentally a different hand. That's why I have books everywhere in my life, in my house, because for the price of a book, if it's a good book, you can learn the entire life story, the struggles, the dreams, the morning routines, the nighttime rituals. You can learn how the great ones handled adversity and defeat. And I have to emphasize, the entire story of greatness and possibility is ordinary human beings who responded to adversity in heroic ways. And so I would say you can, surround yourself with world-class people through Instagram lives like this. You're right. This is an opportunity for your business. Go to digital. And so people can learn from you or from me through our online trainings or anyone's. Podcasts, you want to learn, get into great minds? Podcasts are free. Go over to YouTube and look at all the free good information. Some of it is, I'm not really into the, people jumping off roofs on bicycles and dancing puppies, but there's some great information as well. So I think, we're in a glorious time as well. It's a very sad time on the planet. It's a very good time on the planet because from a phone, you can learn so much information from people who are doing amazing things on the planet. It's really quite incredible.
Amazing. So this question that I got asked, this was from the Instagram story that I placed to ask you questions. And someone, I think it was Jane, I can't remember the name, but he said, why did you write the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari?
Well, the greatest crime is the crime of self-betrayal. And I've mentored many billionaires for 24 years. And one thing I've learned is there are a lot of people who have a lot of money, but they don't have a lot of joy. They don't have a lot of freedom. And I think that's another thing that's happening in the world right now, in this great resetting. We're asking ourselves in the enforced quietude of lockdown, are the metrics of success I'm chasing, am I doing this because I'm like a sheep following the rest of the crowd, or am I living my life? Stone Riley, the central character in the 5 a.m. Club, he's a billionaire. Nothing wrong with making money, living in a beautiful, that's all fine. But is it your God or is it your servant? Are you the servant to the things you're chasing, or are you the master? And so I was a litigation lawyer for all the wrong reasons, because, if I become a lawyer, I'll make money, have a nice car, beautiful partner, nice house. And I achieved all those things. And guess what? I woke up in the morning and it was John Kabat-Zinn, what did he say? Wherever you go, there you are. And nothing is more valuable than what I call JPF, joy, peace, and freedom. And so I left the law. I went on a search. I ended up writing The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It led me down another path, and it led me to a different life.
Wow, it's such an amazing. I followed your journey for 10 years, and I've seen how you've just this message that's just penetrating, this light force that's pushing out and making a huge impact to people.
If I may say, I'm no different from anyone who's watching. I don't want to suggest I'm a guru. I don't want to suggest I'm cut from a different cloth. I don't have any talents or gifts that anyone watching doesn't have. I mean, in the 5 a.m. Club, I don't only share the morning routine, I share the 10 I second wind workout. And, you know, so-called genius is less about your natural giftedness and more about your daily habits. And so once we install the habits of world class and release our excuses and start doing the work of world class, then our lives fundamentally change. And I'm not going to sit here and say it happens in a day, but you're going to get to where you are in a year anyway. Why not get to where you are in a year at the finest version of your greatest vision and do beautiful things for yourself, your family, and the world? It's a great way to spend a life.
That's so interesting. It's the habits of what you're not doing is what's not getting you the results. You know, about 3 years ago, I created a video piece, and it was a story, and it was called The 10 Habits of Self-Made Millionaires, and the videos reached about 10 million people. Wow. And so and one of those things is exercise and a lot of the things that you're already mentioning. So I would like to ask you though, you spend a lot of time with billionaires. What do you think, out of all the people that you coach and mentored, what's that one trait that you see in them all?
It's not just one trait. They pretty much all have the same traits, and I would say a few things. They are reality benders and possibilitarians. You know, Steve Jobs, Bud Tribble at Apple said Steve Jobs had a reality distortion field. When you were in his presence, he would talk about these crazy things and you just believed it. And so all the billionaires and NBA stars and world changers that I've mentored for almost a quarter of a century, they are so faithful to their vision that even if people laugh at them, call them crazy, attack them, they say, I don't care, your opinion is your opinion, I'm going to do it anyway. So I'd say the first thing is they believe in their vision even when no one else in the world believes in their vision, because every visionary is initially ridiculed before they are revered. Second thing is they're incredibly resilient. You know, for most people, I'm not judging, just reporting, you get laughed at, you share a vision with your wife or family, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, and they go, are you crazy? That would never work. And you go, oh yeah, I guess it would never work. You've got to be out. The billionaires go, you can knock me down 1,000 times. I don't care. I'm not stopping. Third thing, they are all freakish grade curious. You talk to the majority and it's like, go read this book, go do this course, go talk to this person, go to John's event. And sometimes they come up with excuses. The billionaires and the A players, it's, what will it cost me not to read that book? I learned this from Warren Buffett. What will it cost me not to go to that conference? What will it cost me not to learn what she has to say? Third point. Fourth point, they're all really into fitness. What I've learned is fitness increases not only your lifestyle and longevity, fitness multiplies your productivity, which amplifies your prosperity.
Wow.
So invest in a trainer, invest in massages, invest in, like I've got this thing right here, it's like I put this on when I work out.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right? And it simulates high altitude training. And I when I walk, I wear this to strengthen lungs. And, all I'm saying is when I had nothing, and I'm not saying I have so much, but when I had nothing, I invested in books, learning, tools of the trade, because that's how you collapse the timeline and learn what the best know.
Wow. You just put it so beautifully simple, these pearls of wisdom. And, for anybody watching right now, Robin, if people want to know more about you, how can they buy your books? How can they follow you? Where can they get the next level of trading from you? Sure.
They can go to my Instagram. I think it's at Robin Sharma. It's the blue badge one. And they can follow me on Instagram. But also, as I mentioned, in my profile is the War Measures Manual. And it's a 10-page document that I've deconstructed on how people get through adversity and actually thrive. And it's not a three-page self-promotion piece. It is hardcore tactics to bulletproof yourself, your family, your business, your community to win. So that's on the, go to my profile on my Instagram and click on the link. Secondly, if they want to get the 5 a.m. club, all the usual places, you know, Instagram, online. I guess we can't go to bookstores, of course. So, and at the end of the book is a 66-day, a link to a free 66-day video-based 5 a.m. club training program. And I have to say, a portion of my royalties go to help children with leprosy.
Wow.
And I've got about 200 videos on YouTube. You mentioned it. It's called the Mastery Sessions. It's my podcast. All philosophical and tactical, pure value. Final thing is for people who want to go deeper, I do a very high-level digital coaching program where every week they get videos and mentoring from me because I'm not doing the Titan Summit anymore. And I'm really cutting down on live events. So I was already doing it before this all happened. I'm really going to digital. Anyone following can simply go to thecircleoflegends.com. It's thecircleoflegends.com, and they can look at the details. And if they're interested in, you know, world-class mentoring online, they can invest in a membership.
Wow, Robin, thank you so much for taking time. I know you're extremely busy, especially with all the things that happen right now. And, you know, it's your time, and I think my audience we're hugely appreciative that you have taken this time and really hugely making an impact to the people tonight. Thank you so much.
And I thank you for being such a gentleman, and John, for all the good you're bringing to the world. I mean, you know, you're really a light, and you're upgrading and uplifting a lot of people. So keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Oh, everyone go and follow Robin now. So at Robin Sharma, the Bold and the Blue Badge. Go and check out his work. It's amazing. And keep following his work. Like and share his work to everybody. All right, Robin. See you later.